Game Waffle.
So I'm here with Babsy from Papermint, and I just wanted to, are you enjoying your stay in Nottingham and Game City?
Extremely. I think Game City is the best game conference and festival ever. I used to help to organize the Nordic Game Festival in Sweden, which is also very nice, and I tried also to get like Matsuru-san and all these great people, and it was fun in the beach house, but still it's very corporate and it's a lot of money behind it. And what you do here in Nottingham Game City is really, it inspires me so much. The networking with interesting young and indie and whatever people is really wonderful. I love it's so high quality and clever and smart and pop culture, and it's great.
So you enjoy the British industry as well?
Yeah, very much. We just moved to London, so Papermint originates from Vienna, but our three-head big team just moved to London to a small chemistry factory where we have a new office now. So yeah, it's brought us a lot of luck so far that we are in London.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you actually, because you've worked in many different places and also in Japan, how has working in different countries then affected your art style and perhaps influenced the style of Papermint?
It's like a positive vicious circle. So I knew my art was not so useful maybe in the Western world, so I went to Japan, and there I learned what I already liked, and when I came back I could bring this back, and I influence now again, for example, my team, what they like and so on. So it was very fruitful and fructifying. It was very important for me to move to somewhere where there is a culture that appreciates visual language and not only
so
writing.
You don't think that you would have come up with the same visual style if you hadn't have gone to those different places?
That's a very good question, because on Austrian TV, so the Austrian BBC, the national TV, they cooperated with Japanese anime production companies to recreate old children books, very famous books like Alice in Wonderland and stuff like this, as anime, for that children learn the book by watching a cartoon. So I grew up naturally with anime, not knowing that it is anime. So the visual style was very already in my mind all the time, and also at the same time I played the old Nintendo games. So for me this was how my life looked like anyway. But because then when you go to art university and everything is very serious and you learn about Western culture, Western art, it's suddenly not like the stuff you liked back then when you were a child. So yeah, I had to go.
Yeah. So also the style of Papermint, it's very kind of reminiscent of the paper doll books that you used to get, where you could tear out a little paper doll character and add the clothing to them. I was just wondering why you chose the style for it, and is there something in that kind of design style that kind of represents socialism as well, kind of because the game's all about like a social network?
Yeah. You're absolutely right. So the game inventor of Papermint, the mastermind, he said to me he wants to make an MMO or a social or a virtual world where everything is like made of paper, like paper dolls, because then it's very that you can change your clothes and everything, which is a very superficial act in a social environment, but still extremely important because it shows you who you are, and in a game where it's not really, everything is just a very flat mirror of reality. It's very important what your surface tells you in the first moment before you really talk to someone or see how the person behaves in the game. So he thought that the metaphor of these paper dolls, these fashion paper dolls, is very useful. And then also it was great that he said it to me, because that time I wasn't really a big fan of all stuff 3D. I mean, from an aesthetic style point of view. So, but still, of course, it's important that you navigate in the 3D environment, because it gives you so much more freedom. So how can we combine that? And then I came, hey, is it possible to make it look like Parappa the Rapper, but in a 3D world where you can walk around? So Parappa the Rapper was a big influence for me, of course. And I even asked Matsura-san if I'm allowed to do this. So he said, yes, I'm very glad. And then we did it, and it's very practical. It doesn't only look very different, so everyone would be able to recognize Papermint and say, oh yeah, this is Papermint, it looks so different. But also, it's extremely quickly, it's possible to create content very quickly and to react to the wishes of the users. So if they say, now it's Game City, then okay, let's make a Game City t-shirt, and I press on a button and it's in the game almost. I mean, the programmers, they are a bit angry because they have to put it in, and it takes maybe some time for them, but not for the artists. That's why I invite illustrators, not game artists or 3D artists or whatever, real illustrators and comic artists or fashion designers to draw stuff. And again, we press on a button, and a great tool chain our programmers did. It puts all the art from the real artists into Papermint, and they can make their own islands. And for example, John Bergerman from Nottingham, he made an island, and it was exhibited at Game City 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
So it's we want to explore and to collaborate with artists from different disciplines and also musicians as well. So the music in Papermint is done purely with our voices, like a bit like Katamari Damacy, but more crap. So, but we would like to have other musicians to make the sound of islands made by other illustrators. It's like a cover art, like an album art, so that they have their own artistic world and can walk through it.
In a way, you would like to get all types of musicians kind of in a way they'd be able to promote their music through
exactly.
Papermint,
It's like a
but
3D
also add to it.
MySpace or a 3D, and not 3D, it's not enough, it's an interactive, gamey, worldy portfolio for illustrators or musicians or fashion designers or architects or whatever.
So do you see it as kind of like a, like you say, kind of like 3D version of Facebook perhaps as well?
Yeah,
so you
I
kind of
use this phrase sometimes to explain it to marketing people because they understand it. But we still need users to have Facebook.
Yeah.
So we are launching it. We tried to launch it end of November in UK. So we were extremely nervous about this, and I shouldn't be here, but be with my team and help. So actually, two of them, they wanted to come here tonight for the party, with the Nottingham Game City party, but they said, sorry, we have to stay, but please do your best and sell it. Yeah, so this is my work here to make you all play Papermint.
It's good work.
I hope so. Well, yeah. What is also interesting maybe for game students or people who want to go into the game industry or think of becoming indie and set up an own studio, on the papermint.com website, on the press part, we are very bad in press things, but there is also an explanation how we did it and which problems we had and what happened to us. It's a real crazy story that happened to us, so it's almost like a business thriller. It's like a Hollywood movie, but it was real, it was very crazy. I could tell it to you now, it takes some time.
Well, I was going to ask you as my final question what you thought the advantages of working in the indie games industry was over mainstream.
So we experienced shortly how it would be not to be indie anymore. So it was a huge company. Just imagine a very huge company thinks you're the next big thing, you're the next Facebook. And we said, oh, really? Only after 3 months you finish the prototype. And suddenly you have this